Hey everyone, it is Freestyle Friday here on the Kim Jacobs Show. We have a lot to discuss, so we're going to jump right in. I am so excited that you guys have tuned in to today's episode talking about whatever you want to talk about. So I know that y'all are already in the studio, you're already in your virtual seats, and you are ready to rock and roll. You can comment. You can actually come into the screen if you would like, and I will share with you right now how you can officially come into today's broadcast. Let me go ahead and, if you want to come on the screen, here's how you do that, okay? So that way everyone has the same information right from the beginning of the show. You can go right there, click on the screen link. I'll pull you into the show and you can talk about some topics that you want to talk about, and we'll go from there. I'm excited to get the opportunity to make this my studio audience day, talking about whatever you want to talk about. Some of you have texted me, you've emailed me, you've inboxed me, you've DM'd me. I'll go back through as well while I'm on the broadcast to make sure I don't leave off any topics that's been sent my way. And we're going to have a great hour together. Let's go ahead and see. Let me go ahead and kick today's show off. Share this broadcast. Let everybody know. Listen, guys, if we want to talk about some trending topics, jump on the Kim Jacobs Show and share some of your thoughts. Let's rock and roll with today's show. You know you're going to have a good time. Woo, okay, so let's go ahead and jump right in. Jeremiah's sending me some notifications as well. I've been wondering, what city and state are you in? Okay, first question already. I've been wondering, what city and state are you in? Okay, yeah, cool, that's good. Thank you, Jeremiah. So thank you, baby. And give me that ink pen too. All right. Uh-oh. So Jeremiah is over here. He's my assistant, my son. Rosalind, the city and state that I'm in the Charlotte, North Carolina area. So that's where I am. And thank you so much for tuning into today's episode. I am in the Charlotte, North Carolina market. And so I'm glad to have you. Tell me what city and state you're in as well. Anytime I have guests here on the studio audience, members from around the country, around the world, actually, here on the Kim Jacobs Show, it's an honor to have you as a part of our virtual studio audience. So go ahead and tell me where you are as well. And welcome to today's episode. Hey, my friend Sean is here. Hey, Sean, how are you? I know you're not going to show yourself on the screen, and I'm glad to have you on. And we can talk about whatever you want to talk about as well. I have topics that other guests have chimed in on, so we're going to get through all of them within this hour as much as possible. Rayford, North Carolina. Okay, Rosalind, thank you all the way from Rayford, North Carolina. Okay, what do you want to talk about today, Rosalind? Go ahead and type it in the comment section. Sean, hey.
I'm here. Hey.
Okay, what do you want to talk about today, Sean? Sean's my best friend. She's going to pop in any Friday she want, any day she want, actually. And we can talk about some of the things that's on her heart as well. Sean, go ahead. Tell us what's on your heart.
You know what's on my heart. It's election season, and Kamala Harris is going to be the VP choice, for Joe Biden. And everybody's not feeling the love, Kim. That bothers me a little bit.
Well, that's okay. Let's talk about that, everybody. Now, Sean is on and she's sharing her opinion. And let me actually put that here as a disclaimer. I'll make sure I share with you all that the views of everyone that's chiming in here on Freestyle Friday or on any other day on the Kim Jacobs Show are the views of the studio audience members. And so everybody have different views. It's okay. I welcome you to share your view, and whether it agrees with what I believe or what someone else that's a guest of mine believes, you're welcome to share your views. I am going to put that here in the comment section, and also let you know that if you would like to subscribe to the Kim Jacobs Show, which I hope you want to, go ahead and do that over the course of this weekend. Here's how you can do it, is right in the comment section as well. You just go to my YouTube channel, subscribe, turn on your notification bell. Every time we go live, you get notified, so you'll never miss an episode. And then if you want to become a Patreon member, which is exclusive content backstage, then you can go ahead and be a part of the after party experience with some of my key guests that pop on. That's patreon.com/. The Kim Jacobs Show. It's only $12 a month. Become a Patreon member and you get some exclusive content that you're not getting here on the regular show. Okay, let's talk about Kamala Harris. Sean, what's your thoughts on this?
Okay, so first, with Kamala Harris, I think that we as Black people have to do better. Now, I know I'm going to get the blast from the Black men, the Black people. She wasn't Black before. She had 1,500 Black men locked up. What I'm going to tell you to do is stop soundbiting, most of you, and go do your research. Go do your research. This woman had a ton of recidivism programs put in place in the state of California. Go do your research about our judicial system. What is the job of a prosecutor? Let me give you a news flash, right? It's not just to set people free, y'all. That is not the system that we live in. And while we're sitting here talking about Breonna Taylor and why her murderers are not locked up because they are police officers, I need you to peep game and apply that same thought pattern to Kamala Harris when she was a prosecutor, when she was an AG for the state of California. It is not the job of the prosecutor's office to just set people free and to make sure that they go along their happy lives. That's not the job. Should it be the job? If it's what you want to be the job, then we have to do a better job in voting, number one, because there are a ton of people who get in their feelings and say, oh, I'm not going to vote. The system is flawed. The system remains flawed because you don't get in the process. Because when you don't vote, it's a vote for the system that is currently in place. And so when you know the system that is in place, that it is set up to make sure that people are put under the harshest penalty of the law, what did you want her to do? Did you want her to not do her job? Did you want her to say, oh, no, I'm going to let the people just go? And now she's out of a job. Y'all, you got to use some better sense than what you're using. And so when we use these kind of tired tropes against especially Black women, the same Black women that prop up everybody else, Black men included, we want a little bit of, no, not a little bit, we want a lot of respect. We want some of that same care and concern. And I don't want to hear nothing about, well, you want me to just vote for her because she's Black? Because you're the same people who are in all of these little groups talking about buy Black business, support Black businesses. And what am I doing? I'm supporting the businesses because they are what? Black. Y'all go ahead with that.
Interesting. Okay, wait, Sean. Let me give a chance. Okay, so all of the audience members that are chiming in on this, make sure that you go ahead and type your comments. And what are some of your feedback about Kamala Harris being now Joe Biden's running mate and for the presidential election? What are some of your thoughts on this? What do you feel about this? I want to hear from all of my audience members as well. And Sean is making a profound point, which is a lot of African Americans say, hey, buy Black, support Black organizations and that are Black, that she's specifically talking about. A lot of people that are African American are starting groups saying, hey, we want to support Black. We want to support Black Lives Matter. We want to support anything that we can say, hey, this is where our dollars are going. So how does it work when it comes to the presidential election? First, African American, well, a long time coming. We have African American female that's now going to be head to head with the president of the United States and now making history in a great regard as far as from a lot of people's perspectives. But then there is a lot of controversy surrounding how much support she has from some of her own colleagues. For example, I saw on CNN that Don Lemon was talking about having his team reach out. And they reached out to, I think it was like 53, I wrote it down, it was like 53 of her colleagues that are Republican colleagues to get feedback on what their thoughts were on how President Trump was actually dealing with her and communicating about her, about her birth certificate and same similar things with President Obama that he had talked about. What is her nationality? Where is she from? And we know that she was, even though she was born in California area, I think it was in 1964. I gotta find the notes because I hate talking off the top of my head. So let me look because I wrote it down. Yeah, okay. She was born in 1964 in California to immigrant parents is what Kamala Harris was. But he wanted to obtain her birth certificate to find out more of her heritage, where she's officially from. Did she actually Just a lot of facts. So go ahead.
I was going to jump in and say, listen, let me also, because I was a political science major. I love politics, and this is my jam right about now. So for people who are saying she's not black enough, go ahead with that. What is black enough? As the daughter of an immigrant father, my dad was born in Antigua in the British West Indies. My mother is black. I'm not any less black than anybody else. And just like I told you last week, I'm blackety black, black, black. And we got to stop with this comparison of who's black enough. Because if we look at what it means to be born in America, it means just that. Regardless of who your parents are, if you are born on this soil, you are an American. That doesn't just go for black people. Why do you think that there are Russian women coming over by the droves, Chinese women coming over by the droves to this country, staying in luxurious apartments, luxurious hotels, having babies? It's for one sole reason, so that their children can get that coveted status of American. So this
Right.
also applies to Kamala. She's no different. So what if her grandfather or her great great grandfather owned slaves? Okay, the truth of the matter is there's some of us on here whose great 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 grandparents owned slaves as well, who were also patrollers for the master, who were also the overseer's assistant. So are we really, really going to go there? No, you shouldn't, because
Well,
what
lots of
matters?
comments coming in.
Yeah, bring it.
No, they just said thank you, Sean Hall. Valerie Dixon said yes, yes. So what you're saying, she's in agreement with as a studio audience member as well. Go ahead, keep your comments coming in and continue to share your thoughts on topics you want to talk about today on Freestyle Friday. If you say silent, as as Don Lemon was saying on CNN, he said silence speaks volumes. So if you're silent, then you don't have your opinion still stands because everyone has an opinion in some regard, but it's just a matter of if you voice it or if you choose to keep it silent. That's all your choice. But it still says something about you.
That's right. And I will say this, people are urging folks to vote. And I thought about that last night. You and I are both Christians, Kim, and we know that the word talks about being very specific with your words and what you say. So I'm not telling people to just vote, because if you go and vote another way, that's not going to be a good thing, in my opinion. So I am urging people to vote for Biden and Kamala Harris. Vote for your next Supreme Court justice. Vote for the opportunity to have these federal judges be put in office in a way that is judicious and befitting of the office, not getting people in office who've never tried a case. That's not lawful. It's not something that makes it is lawful, excuse me. It's not something that is profitable. Everything that is lawful is not profitable. And so those are the things that we're
Right.
voting for. And in the last election, out of the
Okay.
2
Well,
million.
Shannon Hancock said definitely. I'm sorry, I'm probably cutting you off because it's a little bit of a
No, it's
glitch and
okay.
I
Go
didn't
ahead.
realize
It's
it. So
okay.
go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, you go, Sean, because I realize that there's a slight delay. So if I'm over talking you, that's why. It's not that I'm trying to cut you off. Go ahead.
No, I get it. I was just going to say, out of the over 2 million eligible voters who voted, who were eligible in the last election in 2016, over 45% did not vote. They sat it out. You sat it out. And so you can't tell me nothing about the game when you ride the bench. Don't tell me nothing about it.
That's right. That's good. Good point. I agree. If you're riding the bench, don't tell me how to play the game because you are not providing valuable input by being a part of the solution versus just sitting back talking about the problem. I'm a big believer to be a solutions provider, and I agree with you, Sean, in that regard. Shannon says, I definitely feel we need more diversity in the White House and Senate. I support Biden's decision to run with her. I want to see who else comes to run for office. Please go vote. Okay. Excellent comment, Shannon, as well. Everyone else, what are your comments? And a lot of you that are on here, you've already shared your comments with me privately, and I'll make sure that share, let me type share what you want to discuss. And if anybody wants to come in, you're welcome to as well. Sean, this is good feedback and good information, but out of the 53 Republican co-workers that Kamala Harris has, only one responded to CNN, according to Don Lemon. Again, this is information that I obtained online. And he said basically the same thing that you're saying, that when people are remaining silent, that speaks volume about what they believe, because it's still, you still have an opinion one way or the other, but you're just not voicing it in support of or in non-support of. So what does that mean? What does that mean to you, Sean, when somebody just sits silently, doesn't respond, and does that mean they support the person, or does that mean they don't support the person, or you'll
It
never know?
it means that you don't know. Some people would say that silence is agreeing, or agreement. Some people would say that, if you don't have anything to say nice, remain silent. That's what our parents taught us, our grandparents taught us. And I think that sometimes silence is a weapon, because people don't know where you stand when you
Right,
are silent. You still have the upper hand, if you will, because a person can't pigeonhole you and say that you're this or you're that because you didn't say what you are.
right,
But I'm going to speak to that and say, choose who you're going to align yourself with. And what I think about when I think about alignment is, Charlie Rangel, Democrat from New York. And yes, I know he was disgraced. Yes, I know he did some things that he shouldn't have done. But there was a great quote that he said that I kind of like to live my life by. We can't afford to have, permanent allegiances to anybody, to
right.
anything except for Jesus Christ, in my opinion. And if you're not a believer, the permanency should be on those things that align with your purpose. And they're going to be people, I have friends, acquaintances rather, who would say that, Trump, he's the only one out here who supports Israel, which is a biblical concept, and talking about those people who are friends with Egypt are a friend of God. I understand that. He's the only one who is supporting, right to life and not to have abortions. And he's upholding all of these biblical principles. However, he's also the same man who said, grab him by the pee. He's also the same man who's had three different wives. He's also been the same man who has been in adulterous relationships that then went into marriage. He's also the same man who has filed for bankruptcy several times because he raided his own companies. He's also the same man who has lied about the previous president that we had. So when I look at this, he's not a man, that was like David after God's own heart. He is like many of us. He is flawed, and yet he doesn't admit it. To him, he has no flaw. To him, he's right in every single thing that he does. And to me, that person, not only are they a narcissist, they are also a person who is delusional, because if you can't admit your own flaws, that's problematic. If you're a person, if you're a father who says that, hey, if your child wasn't your child, you'd have sex with them and that you date them, something is wrong with you. Something is sick about who you are. And to say that this is the person that you believe is God's man and representative of who the Lord Jesus Christ is, I don't know that we serve the same God.
Well, okay. Wow, 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 wow. Okay. So Sean is saying a mouthful, as you can hear. And so these are her opinions, and her opinions are her opinions. And what she's sharing is that you going deep, Sean. You saying, now, you know what I'm hearing you say, and please correct me if I'm wrong, that if you do not hear somebody says, Shannon said, whoop, whoop, go Sean. You took the words right out of my mouth. So you have a supporter in the Kim Jacobs studio audience out there.
Thank you,
Listen,
Shannon.
she said, big shout out, Shannon. Okay. What I'm hearing you say is that, and if a person does not believe what you're saying is for not, or share sentiments that you're saying regarding President Trump and some of the things that lead you to believe that he is this particular way based on factual information that you've been able to obtain, then you question their spiritual belief. Is that what I'm hearing you say?
No, 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 no,
No,
no.
I didn't hear you right. That's why it's always
I want
good
to,
to
yeah.
repeat what you think you hear the person say. So say it again.
What I am questioning is whether or not we are necessarily serving the same God, the same Jesus, in terms of what we know that he would have us to do. And one could say, well, wait a minute. What about those people who support abortion and people shouldn't have abortion? And you know what? Here's my answer for that. Don't you have one? if you are a woman and you are against abortion, be sure that you don't have one. And be sure that if you're a man, that you're not sleeping with somebody who is not your wife and creating children that you don't want to be in this earth and be responsible for. That is your solution. But when we talk about people having abortions and we talk about the right to life, that same right to life is the same right to life that Breonna Taylor had, that George Floyd had, that
Right.
many of these other unarmed Black men had. It's the same right to life that many of these white men have when they can come out their house with a armed with the AK-47 and still be taken into custody without a scratch.
Hmm.
That's a problem. So, right to life is not just about unborn children. It's about the right to life that people have who are already here on this earth, but we won't talk about that. People
Well, that's
don't
good.
talk
I mean,
about
that's good.
that.
This is good conversation and good dialogue. That's like conversation starters for people to be able to chime in on. Do you feel that the right to life even exists beyond when life starts? Is what I think I'm kind of hearing, because Breonna Taylor, George Floyd, Ahmaud Arbery, all of these people that have had their lives taken from them, even if it wasn't during abortion, and they once they came to this earth, another person snuffed their lives, is still a life being taken, whether you support abortion or not, is what I think I'm hearing Sean say. So Sean and I have very robust discussions behind the scenes. And so she and I deep dive very often. And sometimes I'm sweating and she's like, oh no, Kim. And I'm like, oh, but Sean, you got to think about this. So we go in on our conversation. So today on Freestyle Friday, I'm giving her a chance to make sure she just have some conversation starters as well. And then any of you all that want to chime in, I have some of the topics here. So people have commented, Sean, on some of the things that you shared. And again, some people have sat silently because they don't want to chime in. So again, that's everybody's choice. So do you want to add any additional comments, or do you want to stay on and continue to just hear some of the other thoughts from some of the other studio audience members, or you can jump off and just start commenting yourself, whatever works for you?
Thank you, Cam. And
Let me know.
I know that these subjects are touchy. I know that whenever you go on air, there's a permanent record of what you're saying. So people always want to be careful. That's probably why, out of the 53 constituents of Kamala Harris, only one person spoke up, because they didn't want to feel the heat from Trump. They didn't want to hear the heat from their constituents. And I want to challenge us, and I challenge myself, to be thoughtful about the words that I speak, because they can come back to bite you. But I also understand they
Always.
come back to bite you if it's not something that you can support. And support is not just about when things are going good or when things are your way. You have to be able to take a firm stance, even when it's something that could cost you your life, even when it's
Well,
something that can cost you opportunity.
let's talk for a quick second, and anybody can chime in on this too, because I 100% agree with what you're saying, Sean, when it comes to what you say. I'm big on everything I say is held against me in the court of law, and I know that. So whenever I say something to someone, I am very intentional about what I'm saying. So where someone says, oh, people capture your stuff and they screenshot, they do all of it, I already know that. I know that 100%. So everything that I say, if I say it, it's because I intended to say it, and I'm very careful about what I say, because I know it's going to be a document that can later be brought back against me in some regard. And I've known that from ministry, actually from church, because that's just how it is as a pastor's wife, and being able to say different things, thinking that I'm helping somebody, or thinking that I'm just letting my hair down, letting my guard down, or whatever. Every time, not even 90% of the time, 100% of the time, it's come back to bite me. And so I literally am very mindful of that after being in a leadership role for over 20 years in ministry. So let me say this to you. I recently put, this is a call, y'all can chime in on this. Tell me your thoughts. I recently put a video out on my YouTube channel, and the title is "A Karen Steals a Blind Man's Dream." And so when I put that out there, I am sharing it. My children actually came up with the title, Karen Steals a Blind Man's Dream. And I was like, what? A Karen? No, a Karen is technically people saying this about people that are entitled and so forth at a certain race. But I was like, that's not the case. I don't even know if this person that's stealing this man's dream is Caucasian, African American. I don't even know what their nationality is. But the more I thought about it, I said, okay, you know what? We can go with that trending topic, title, or whatever. because to me, a Karen is not a race. A Karen is a person that is, in my opinion, based on what the new trending wording is a person that's entitled, that feels like they have the right to do something to someone else that has caused them some level of harm or discomfort in their lives, which is not fair to the individual that's on the receiving end. So you guys tell me your thoughts on that. Is it a Karen, or is it just that I could have said the person's name? Because the person's name in this particular regard that he said, now again, this is alleged based on the person, Christian, who was on my show, blind young man, doing well, had this dream for years to be a radio talk show. Sean, mute your mic because I can't. Let me mute it for you. Okay. So he had a dream for years to be a radio talk show host. And now when I interview him on the show, he says, "Oh no, I want to be a guidance counselor." Well, that kind of threw me off in the interview because I was thinking, a guidance counselor? What happened? A guidance counselor is magnificent as far as it's a career, if that's what you choose to do, to be able to help young people. But to say that's your goal, when I know personally your goal has been for years to be a radio personality since I've known you, and how much you speak so highly of 100.9 FM, Praise 100.9. He loves the people at Praise 100.9 FM, and they treat him really good, because I know personally, because he talks about how well they treat him over there. And so for that interview to go forward and he say this whole new career, it threw me off. So when I went backstage and I was talking to him, he revealed, and that's why you need to go look at the video, A Karen Steals a Blind Man's Dream, here on the Kim Jacobs Show YouTube channel. He talks in great detail about why he changed his dream to become a guidance counselor. So y'all tell me, I'm trying to get the information out because I want the information to go to here. I'm unmute your mic, Sean. Oh, you might have muted your own mic. I can't
I
unmute
did. I
you.
muted my mic.
Okay, go ahead, Sean. Any thoughts? And
Listen,
anybody chime in.
yeah, I love how you give the cliffhanger so people can go and watch the interview. I'm just going to spill the beans because I want people to go back and watch it in detail and hear the agony in this young man's voice, because I think it matters. We as Black people, we as people, we all have faced some level of discrimination or prejudice. However, I feel like it is compounded when when you are differently abled. And I say that wording, I use that wording because I have a background in special education. I have a
Yeah.
master's in special education, and I'm very careful as to how I label people. And we all are differently abled. As some people would say, you're disabled, but no, we're differently abled. He is differently abled in the fact that he is blind and he is a young Black man who wants actively to become a radio host. But this woman told him that he couldn't come in the studio to shadow current radio hosts in the DC market, who are Radio One personalities. Radio One is owned by Kathy Hughes, a Black woman. And this receptionist said he couldn't come in unless he was a celebrity. Who does that? Who does that to somebody, where you dash their dreams, especially someone who is blind, who's got every odd already against them, and here you come compiling it. And yeah, Karen could be Black, white, Puerto Rican, but generally we say Karens because it typically is a white woman who is outside of her realm of authority, but trying to assert her authority over someone who doesn't look like her, based on the fact that she thinks that she has the right to do so, just off of the color of her skin. It's wrong. And people who are white and named Karen, well, they don't want their name maligned. And really, you could be a Karen, you could be a Keisha, you could be a Becky. It doesn't matter. What you
You
are
can be a
is you
Kim.
are
You can
wrong.
be a Kim. It doesn't matter
You
about
could
the
be a
name.
Kim. You
Right.
could be a
Let's
Kim.
make it
It doesn't
personal.
matter. You're wrong. And we need to call these people out. I've had people like that in my life. I had a Mr. Holbrook. I'm gonna say his whole name because it don't matter.
Oh, come
Because
on. Not the whole
yeah,
name. Oh my
yeah, I didn't
God.
say his whole name. I said his last name. And unless you know my background, then you don't know exactly who I'm talking about. But it was Mr. Holbrook. He was my 8th grade teacher. And he went around the classroom and asked each person what their career aspirations were in their life. And during that time, I was a part of a group called Saturday Academy. And And this organization was hosted at North Carolina A&T State University, a historically black college, excuse me, a historically black university, and they were teaching young black students how to code. We were doing something unheard of at the time, and you would go and spend your Saturdays and learn how to, excuse me, not code, you would learn computer languages. So I was learning COBOL and BASIC. You know, I didn't even know where I was going to go with these things, but I had big aspirations of being a computer analyst. I wasn't quite sure what it was, but I thought it was something that I wanted. And yet here came Mr. Holbrook dashing every dream that I had, because he told me, quote, "You're not good in math. You need to pick something else," end quote. No, instead of telling me I wasn't
Wow.
good in math, when you saw that I had some issues and deficiencies, if you were anyway a teacher, anyway a person trying to uphold young people in their desires and aspirations in life, you should have offered to tutor me in math to say, hey, I know you're going to need these certain skills. I want to make sure you get all you can get in life and get to where you're going. But instead, you were happy to throw a roadblock in my way and tell me what I could not do. And so for that, he is a Ken, not a Karen. You're a Ken because you were trying to block
Okay.
me.
Listen, I'm not. I'm really big on, and I'm really big on not like labeling people or anything, but I really was offended when I heard this young man. He was in serious distress, and his mom was a part of the conversation. And the takeaway is definitely to encourage Christian and any other person that's watching today's broadcast, sharing this with your families, that no matter what the person's name is, fill in the blank, don't let anybody steal your goals or your dreams, because there's always a way to make them become a reality. And so, where one person may be attempting to be a roadblock for you, God has a way of opening up the doors so that you get welcomed right in. And He doesn't have respect of persons. So, what if one person become a radio personality and that's an option in life, then Christian can become a radio personality. And I'm big enough and crazy. I say big enough, but not big enough. Well, I am bigger. Okay, but anyway, I'm crazy enough to believe that God can just change everything around. And where one person meant something for your harm, it turns out to be one of the best victories in your life. So I'm trusting and believing that Christian will become a radio personality. And even though Sean may not have become a mathematician, guess what? There is no amount of anything that you could throw out into the atmosphere that woman cannot pick up on. So in this case, allegedly, based on Sean's communication, Mr. Holbrook, Ken, whoever she wants to call him, was wrong. So he should have invested in her more so that he wouldn't be this particular part of her life story. Nobody wants to be a part. I don't want to be a part of somebody's life story from a negative perspective. Uh,
Well,
yeah, I mean, let me say this
can,
too, Sean. I really want to say this publicly, and hopefully somebody
yeah.
tag Terza Andrews, or Terza Andrew. I'm not sure of her last name now, but she worked with me with the Kim Jacobs. Well, it was Daily Balance with Kim Jacobs back in the day. And I love this woman. Love, love, love her. She's exotic looking. Her hair is beautiful, blah, blah, blah. I mean, all of this stuff. She has energy, excitement. I love her. I love her. And one time she wrote me and said that some things that I said to her during the time that we were working together really offended her. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, I didn't even know that offended her, because part of the wording that offended her was the fact that I would say, look, we're not gonna be doing no fluff stuff. We're gonna be rocking and rolling. We're gonna get this ship in order. We're gonna, I was like trying to, boss up and everything. But that bossing up offended her greatly. And I didn't even know it. I didn't even know that until like many years later when she shared this with me in a written communication. And when I say it devastated me, because I was like, dog, here I thought we had this great loving relationship. And she would say some things like to my spouse at the time, which she would be like, hey, big guy or whatever. And I was like, that's just her wording or whatever. No big deal. It's how she rolls as far as her languaging when she was talking to our pastor, my husband. And I never, ever, ever, ever thought anything of any of it until she brought it to my attention. So I apologized to her, and I want to formally, I'm serious when I say I want to formally apologize on the Kim Jacobs show to Terza, because Terza is important in my life and I love her. And I love you, Terza, if you're watching this. So I formally, publicly apologize to you for any wording that I ever used when you worked with my show in any regard, as far as saying, fluff stuff. I don't want any fluff stuff or whatever the wording is that I've said that was offensive. And I'm not brushing it off like blah, blah, blah. I am totally apologetic. And I want to make sure that I don't go to my grave in life ever having any ought with people, because I think that's so important that we just get any ought off the table and have genuine love one for another and one to another. And I love everybody. I love God's people. I don't want to have anything that hinders me from getting to where my son is, heaven. So I keep saying that a lot, because there are instances in my own personal life. We talk about the Karens and talk about the Kens. What about talking about Kim? And that's what sometimes people don't do. They don't talk about themselves. We're willing to talk about everybody else, but what about talking about us? If I talk just about Kim Jackson Jacobs, guess what? I would have plenty to fill my show up with to share with you guys. Plenty. Instead of only talking about, oh, what's the rumor about this celebrity? What's the rumor about this president? Blah, blah, blah. That's nice. And that's what the Freestyle Fridays is for. You can talk about whatever you want. But sometimes you'll also hear me talk about Kim. Kim. And let that sink in. Fill your name in the blank. What am I doing that's offensive to somebody else? And so, Terza, I apologize to you publicly. And I love you. All right. That's my spiel for a few minutes. Sean, like, Lord, Kim, you ain't have to say all that.
Actually, I love it, because I think that we as people need to hold the mirror up to ourselves. In education, one term that we use is schema, and that is your frame of reference. And most of us can't go outside of our frame of reference. Many of us, with the issues that we have, the triggers that are sparked from other people's dialogues, it's really based on your schema. Things that have happened in your own life that somebody may have said something to you. And whenever you hear that word, it's not about the person who's using the word, it's where the word emanated. Where did you first hear it? Who
Right.
first told you what you couldn't do or what you couldn't be or what you were going to be? And now you fight like mad to make sure that you're not proving that person right. So I appreciate hearing from you and just saying, Terza, here's an issue that you had with me. You voiced that, and I want to tell you I'm sorry. I think that's a big person. And I think while we're talking about it, more parents need to be apologetic to their children. There's a big thing in the Black community where we talk about apologies, and where, Black parents don't apologize, or how we apologize. It's asking your child, you want to go get something to eat. That is not an apology. Wanting to buy your kids something because you
Right.
said something inappropriate to them, or something that you knew hurt their feelings, or maybe you struck them. And I don't want to leave that on just Black parents, because white people
Right.
do it too, I'm sure, but I'm Black and I can only talk about what I know specifically in my schema. And I think that parents have to get bigger about apologies. It matters, and it's important, and it's the thing that lasts you. Since we're talking about each other, well, you're talking about you and I'm gonna talk about Sean. I remember one of the things that used to drive me in my life when I was younger. It was the thought that my father, who did not raise me, would one day come to my mansion with black and white floors. I don't know why I thought that was classy, but I did, the black and white floors. And, he would knock on my door and he would need help or something. And I would be like, no, I'm not going to help you, and slam the door in his face. That I don't know why I thought that that was something so great, but I shared it with him. Um, Many years ago, as I told him it was a driving force for me, and it hurt his feelings. And I tried to think, why would that be something that would drive me and motivate me? And what it was, basically, I wanted to hurt him in the way that he hurt me. And that's a way that many of us deal with people. We want to hurt people like they hurt us. But the fact of the matter is, a person will never know how much you hurt them. They'll never know. Even if you articulate it, they
Right.
won't have that feeling. And so I apologize to my dad for feeling that way because it was my thinking as a child. And now as a older adult, the relationship that we have has grown. And so to hear my dad tell me that, he looks up to me and that I'm his hero, that there are times where it just floors me. Not because, oh, I'm my dad's hero, but the fact that we can have the kind of relationship where I can tell him things about how I felt regarding him and it wasn't flattering. And he doesn't go off the deep end and say, well, you know what? You can feel however you want to feel. I did the best I could, because that's something that parents say, you did the best you could. But the truth of it is, many of us aren't doing the best we can do. We're doing the bare
That's good.
minimum.
That's good, good. And you're your dad's hero. And you know what? I have a very similar story, even though I won't go into great detail about it right now. That's on a different show, a different time. But I will tell you that my dad has many times said that over the course of his journey in life, as he was coming from being near left for dead to becoming the bishop that he is today, that he felt that part of his motivation was me and my brother, and how important it was for him to get back on his feet for us as well, me and actually and another child that he has as well. So we were some motivating factors in his life. And so I'm really grateful that we have that story to share with each other at this point. Let me go to a couple more things that let me go to some comments that came in. Oh, Cassandra said, dream thieves are real. You know how I feel about dream thieves, Cassandra. And oh, let me say this too, Cassandra, publicly, because now that I know that Terza, who worked with me, feels the way she did about me saying some of the things that I've said, which is we're gonna get this together, we're gonna fluff stuff is not gonna happen all. And I did say those things, so let's not be confused. I'm not gonna say if I definitely called stuff fluff stuff because of my scheme or whatever Sean is saying. Growing up, I was like, okay, maybe if I could just get real serious about certain things and go to college and do this. I was really driven to try to make sure that I get certain things accomplished in life, because maybe that would help change the trajectory of the outcome of my destiny as far as my life and where I grew up and where I really wanted to see myself reaching as far as my goals and my dreams, with the help of God, of course, in his direction. So I am a believer that maybe I'm focusing on too much fluff stuff. And that's a big thing that I talk about all the time. So Cassandra, and I do have to say if, because you've not told me that I've done anything to offend you in this regard. So I am saying if in your situation. Many of you know Cassandra works with me in different regards, with the Balance Doctor, with the church, with Kim Jacobs show, and now she has her own big reveal. If you have not seen Cassandra's episode when I interviewed her, talking about how she balanced all different aspects of her life, you got to check that out, because at the very end she shares about one of her dreams coming true. Anyway, so you got to see that video. So Cassandra, if I've done some things to you to offend you along this journey, please reveal them to me, and I apologize in advance. Okay, I know you're gonna be doing other things in life, and I never want you to go 5-10 years from now with us having aught. I love you, love you, love you, love you, love you. Okay, so yeah, dream thieves are real. They come in all colors. Allison said Christian is handy capable. He can achieve his dream because there is an audience for his abilities. Yes, Lord. All right. So, hey, who have you offended in life? Who do you need to apologize to? Maybe use this as a time of confession in the comments section and type some people out and tag them and say, Kim Jacobs or whoever, Sean Hall, whatever, your person's name in there, and say, I apologize for this. Sometimes we need to just put it out. Get it off of you and put it out. And don't worry about trying to be so private. And how about I apologize to you because I hurt you and what I did was wrong. And for that, I'm very, very sorry. And I didn't realize that I was hurting you. But now that you've brought it to my attention, I'm going to walk in the knowledge that you've shared with me. Okay, let's go to some other Freestyle Friday topics and things that's come in. Hashtag Freestyle Friday, hashtag the Kim Jacobs Show. You don't offend me ever, and my prayer is that I never offend you. I love you. Okay. Yeah, woo, I gotta put something on something out there. Okay. Yes, Lord, I love you, Cassandra. Yes, and yes, Lord, I love you, Terza. I love everybody that I've encountered, I promise, in life. whether I like everything that we've experienced or not. Let's go. Dr. Robert Redfield, director of the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, he's just saying a few basic things. He said, wear a mask, social distance, wash your hands, and be mindful when we are in crowds. Just be smart about it. What are your thoughts about this, everybody? Why is it so challenging for people to wear a mask? Maybe you have some insight. Today is Freestyle Friday. Sean, feel free to unmute yourself and chime in. Why is this so challenging? Why is this a challenge for people to wear a mask, social distance, make sure that we are smart when we're in crowds, and make sure that we wash our hands frequently so that we're not spreading a virus that has officially infected more than 5 million people and killed 166,000 people nationwide? Thoughts, chime in, everybody.
Kim, I'm going to say this and then I'm going to go. It's
There
because
it
we
goes.
are,
Comment.
it's because we're Americans, right? Land of the free and home of the brave. And y'all, this is controversial, what I'm about to say, but I believe it's true. As Black people in this country, and I know somebody's going to say, why does she always go to race? Everything's not about race. But in this country, it is. It is. Uh, as Black people in this country, we know what it is to be oppressed. And I know there are going to be white people who say they've been oppressed too. And I believe that. I don't know if you've been oppressed because of your skin, maybe because of your gender. Yes. Maybe because of your socioeconomic status. Yes. But before you can ascertain my 3 degrees, my ability to speak Spanish, my ability to be an international traveler, to be an author, to be a mother of 4, to do anything, you see me first as Black. And what does that have to do with wearing masks? For the first time ever, white people are experiencing what it's like to be told what to do and to be restricted from doing what they want to do. Because all your life, you've been able to do exactly what you want to do, when you want to do it, how you want to do it. And now here comes the big bad government telling you that you have to wear a mask to preserve the rights of the lives of other people. You haven't been forced to think about anyone else other than yourself.
Okay, time out for a second. I know I've already put the disclaimer out there, but you're right. Not everybody that's white or everybody that's of these different national, but mainly she's talking about white. So not all of you that may be white that's watching this have been free to do whatever you want to do. Like she said, maybe because of gender or whatever the case may have been. There are times that you've had many restrictions in your life. It could have been because of your upbringing as well, because of your circumstances and environments that you grew up to, that you've had much oppression as well. So it's not that just because it's Black or white that the oppression is more just for Black people. Go ahead, say your opinion, Sean. Oh God, I
No,
got
and so here it is. Here it is. It's an observation that I have made, going back with the genesis of this coronavirus. We had an
right.
administration tell us not to wear masks. Does anybody remember that? When they told you to leave the mask for the medical professionals, they told you not to
Right,
wear them. In fact,
because
our president shipped millions of pieces of PPE over to China.
correct.
It left our country, and it was probably a month and a half later that they then said, oh, guys, you need to wear a mask, when you couldn't get a mask and the price was jacked up. And I really have done a deep dive onto Facebook pages. I read other people's Facebook pages, other groups. And so what I'm saying is not some Black woman being racist or prejudiced. It's what I've read other white people say, that my rights are restricted. I am free. I've seen white people wear those horrible metal contraptions that they used to put on enslaved people to keep them from having their mouths move. And they said, I'm free. And so when I see that and I
Hmm.
hear that the issue is that you feel that you're being restricted in your freedom, it's not a na boo boo. Now you know how I feel, because
Right,
lives are at stake. 5 million cases diagnosed only in this country, 19 million worldwide. So when we
right,
look at it,
worldwide, right.
a fourth of the cases for coronavirus are here in this country. This is the
Wow.
first time in our lifetime that travel bans have been put out against the United States. There are only 13 countries that we can travel to. There are
Right,
190
right.
countries in the
That's right.
world. And so when I look at that, we say, well, what's the problem with wearing masks? It really gets down to people having their rights, people wanting to feel a level of freedom and feel
That's
like they don't have to do what somebody else has told them to do. And if I just look at it by the numbers, African Americans only make up 13% of this country. Only
right.
13%. And so the vast majority of people, it's not to be racist, it's not to be prejudiced. The vast majority of people who aren't wearing masks are white people, just by
Yeah,
the
of course.
sheer
That's the
numbers
mass
of it.
population number. That's just the sheer
Yeah,
fact. Right.
that's facts. And so I think that's the big deal that people have with wearing masks, that they don't want to be told what to do. And so what I would urge you to do is go and look at some of these prominent people who have died from coronavirus because they didn't wear masks. We'll look at Herman Cain. I know he's black.
Right.
Herman Cain died. He beat pancreatic cancer. If you
Yes.
research the rates on that, it's low. Less than 10% of people diagnosed with pancreatic cancer survive.
And
He
he
beat
beat
it
it. He beat it
back in 2011. You go out here to, what was it? I
to a
think Tulsa,
rally. He went,
Oklahoma.
yeah, to the Tulsa, Oklahoma rally, and that was his last public event that he went to, and then a few days later was diagnosed with
Yeah. And then a
COVID-19.
month later, he died. But nobody's talking about the fact that his wife is, recovering, and his daughter is in the hospital fighting for her life.
Yes, yes.
A hundred
So
percent.
obviously, once one person's decision is made, and things happen that trickle down to other people, and so it's like any decision that we make, it impacts it's a ripple effect. It impacts everyone around us, and so I agree that social distancing, wearing a mask, washing our hands, being mindful when we're in crowds is necessary. It's required, and to me, it shouldn't be optional. It should be required. That's Kim's personal opinion. It should be
Yeah.
required.
If we want to get what other countries have gotten, we look at Japan, we look at New Zealand. They just got their first case in 102 days. They
Right.
just had their first case. We've got to be willing to do what other people have done. Did they lock
That
down their country?
worked.
Yes. Did they say wear a mask? Yes. Did they say no
So
going to the store? Yes. Did they
that's
restrict
best
people's
practice.
freedoms?
That's why.
It's yes. They did all the things that we won't do, and they're further ahead than we are. And now
Of
we're
course.
sitting here wondering what's wrong with us. Our mentality is wrong with us.
That's good. Good feedback, Sean. Okay, so I'm going to go to these final comments. I'm amazed Americans can be so led by the noise to follow the oppressors. White American is not used to being restricted. Europeans live with armed soldiers and government policies as per the course, and we are hearing them rear up against the common sense notions of prevention being better than a cure. That's Allison Skeet's comment. Let's see. Katrina Katrina Womack says, I wear my mask in public buildings out of care for others, not because I believe they are effective at all. We are not wearing masks that filter particles by viruses. And that's a profound point that Katrina's making there, as well as masks that are open on sides with no seals. And people wearing made out of anything, they don't work. That's a good point, Katrina. Very good point. So it's not, she's saying that she's just wearing the mask just out of sheer consideration for other people, just because when you walk into a place and you don't have a mask on right now, everybody's looking at you sideways. Incidents are popping off. I've done research where lots of people have had physical altercations, people died, all because somebody don't have a mask on. They're like, you don't put that mask on. But at the end of the day, we can't force anybody to do anything as far as other citizens where we're patrolling people, but the government can require it. And I do commend all of the stores that I've seen that have masks right at the front in case you don't have a mask, because not everybody even has a mask. But there are a lot of establishments around the country that are providing masks upon entering their buildings, which I admire. Hand sanitizer, wiping carts down. Grocery stores are going to extremes to make sure their carts are wiped down and providing you with which carts are the clean ones. And even though these are just safety precautions, it's not preventing, but it's safety measures. So I commend a lot
Well,
of them.
I want
institutions.
to add to that, though, Kim. I think, again, our mindsets have to shift. Certainly, Katrina has a great point that it doesn't stop Corona, but it does quell it. There's a
Oh yeah.
study out from Duke University where they tested 14 different types of masks and they used infrared rays. You could see the particles coming out from different types of masks, which ones had less spittle and less
Mhm.
particles going out versus other ones. And I think if we can lessen, not prevent, because nothing's going to prevent it necessarily, but if we can lessen the spread, you want to do that. And when you talk about grocery stores, yes, they tell you that they want you to wear your mask, but I've seen a ton of people in the grocery stores not wearing them because
That's
grocery
right.
store owners and grocery store workers don't want violence perpetrated against them because they too watch TV and they see how people have no problems assaulting other people about a mask. A black man was
Yes.
killed in a store because he was asking someone to wear their mask. He was a security guard. And you turn around and you murder them. You really want to be the person to say that, oh, I'm in jail because somebody wanted me to make sure that other people were safe by wearing a mask, including me,
That's
and I
crazy.
killed them. That's crazy.
Well,
Actually,
Allison
it's
said
not crazy, it's privileged.
it's privileged, and that's your opinion, but it's also crazy too. So it's flat out crazy. Having worked in the utility industry, I happen to have had PPE mask, and I wear mine for my safety and for others. A woman in New Jersey was knocked down when she told another person to put a mask on. She is nursing and broke her hip, and now that woman was
Wow.
charged with assault. Cotton mask, N95, and one other mask of those tested shows as helpful. So let's go back and read this piece again. She said cotton mask, N95, and one other mask was some of the helpful masks. Any of you that's watching, if you know the sources of where you're providing this information, go ahead and pop it in the comments section after the show so people can click on those links and learn that information about which masks are most helpful. Trina said, then obey should have available a standard of mass required to, oh, then basically what Trina is saying is that there should be some type of standard required mask in order to achieve the desired results. I love that comment, Katrina, too, because you're right. If you're requiring, well, I love all of the comments, Sean, all of the comments that you've made, all of the comments that you all are putting on here. It's just good dialogue. And so I
Take
like
that.
good dialogue. So yes, if you're going to require people to wear a mask, then share and allow in the stores for those particular required things to be available
Well,
only.
here becomes the issue with that, right?
Yeah.
It's what we're going to see happen with the vaccines. It's what you see that already happened with EpiPens. You will have some companies who will have a monopoly on it, right? And so
Right.
if we say that let's make it up, the K95 is the most effective, and I'm not saying that it is, I'm just making that up. If the K95 is the most effective, is
Right.
who all can afford the K95s? And what you'll see is it'll be a run on the mask and the prices will skyrocket. And now everyone won't be able to have access to it because of the price. And we say, well, that's just the American way with capitalism. But we're really talking about lives here and not just American lives because
Right.
people travel. People travel. So I think that on the one side, I agree with you, Trina, about if this mask is the most efficacious, let's get it out there and tell everyone to buy it. But I think we have to be very careful about doing so and what that means. I mean, I'm here for at least knowing that some don't work at all. Like I watched the news yesterday and they were saying those gaiters, the one that you just kind of pull up and it looks like a piece of cloth, those, they really don't work at all. So I hear you.
This is good. Good discussion. Allison Skeet put the link on here so you guys can go back and click on that link. It's right. I think it's on the Facebook outlet. So you can go over to my Facebook page or to the Kim Jacobs Facebook page. And it's test makes mask results. And there is the link if you want to learn more about that. She said that the EpiPen directly affected her and helped save her life. So praise God for the EpiPen for Allison Skeet. Last comments here. We've got about a minute or so left. Lots of different links that's being put over in the comment section. Make sure you check those. Schools reopening is a huge topic. Some teachers feel like returning back to school to just provide financial support for their families. And they're trying to determine if it's too risky and they need to find another career. So a lot of people are struggling to return back to school. Out of the 15 biggest school districts, 13 have chosen to begin classes completely online. That's kind of reassuring for a lot of community members. As of August 6th, that was the data. Hawaii and public schools there are going to hybrid learning. Rural Missoula County in Montana is going to hybrid, and New York City public schools are doing a blended model as long as the infection rate stays below 3%. That information I obtained off of CNN is where I got it from. So many teachers are shouldering the cost of personal PPE equipment because they want to make sure that they're properly protected. And many of you know about the story where Amy Westmoreland, she's a school nurse that is working, supposed to have started working in the Paulding County, Georgia school district. She decided to quit because she said basically just with that picture that went viral, she is not about to go back in that situation. You can learn more about her story by looking online. Right now in that school district, in that school, North Paulding High School, where that big picture of all of the kids clustered together in the lobby areas when they were walking in the hallways to go to school, 6 students, 3 staff members have tested positive and their school is closed down for the next few days. It was 3 days total as of yesterday, I think. Anyway, school closed down to be able to disinfect the building. So that's the latest on that. Anybody want to chime in with a quick point before we get ready to get off?
I think it's a great opportunity for those people who are serving children in any capacity, whether you are a tutor, whether you are a teacher. You know, one thing that Corona hopefully has taught us all is how to pivot into your purpose and to make sure that you are seizing every opportunity. And certainly I don't mean in a nefarious way or in a way to be greedy, but there are needs that people have. There are needs of children. When I think about my own 8-year-old who will be doing online schooling, she's going to be here all day without her peers, you know. And so when I think about that, I have to ask myself, what can I do additionally to make sure that she gets some level of social interaction with her peers? Because believe it or not, there are skyrocketing numbers of senior citizens who are committing suicide, young children who are committing suicide because they don't have that personal interaction. And so this is the time for all of us to kind of dig deep beyond ourselves and say, what can I do to contribute? Don't feel bad about charging people because you have to make a living for yourself, but also let's think about the kinds of ways that we can come together as a community and help each other. I think that's important. And I think that as the school year starts up, we're going to see a lot of schools close that opened. And kids will be home and they're going to need to have some kind of assistance and they're going to need to have some kind of outlet.
Very well said, Sean. All of your points are very well said. Mr. whatever his name is, Holbrook, whatever, he was so wrong.
No, and you know what? I want to say this about Mr. Holbrook because one thing that I will credit him with, Mr. Holbrook, Miss Rochelle, all of the teachers who perhaps didn't do as much as I wanted them to do for me, it pushed me to be the better parent, to be the best parent and best advocate I can be, not just for my kids, but for other people's kids, because I know what it's like to have someone not believe in you. And I have purposed my whole life to perhaps be that one person to believe in someone and to go the distance to make the difference.
I am so glad that you said that. That's a great note to prepare to close on, guys. Be that one voice of encouragement and inspiration to somebody else. Make a difference in their lives by being a positive influence. And that's what my desire is to any person that I encounter. And I'm excited that you said that. Okay, make sure you know Quest Church prayer line 978-990-5000. Access code is 322083 #, Monday through Friday from 12 to 12:30. Lots of prayers going on regarding protests, regarding COVID-19, regarding all kinds of things, but you can tune in and be a part of that prayer line. Become a Patreon member today. Go become a Patreon member with the Kim Jacobs Show, and you can unlock some very important information pertaining to how people can like all my backstage stuff and after party experience stuff, you can go ahead and become a Patreon member and unlock that content. It's patreon.com/the Kim Jacobs Show. Let's see, Allison. Excellent comment, Katrina. Okay, guys, and I don't want to leave anybody's comments off. Okay, Katrina, I saw that. And then Allison, you said New Jersey teachers rebelled, and Governor Murphy is now allowing them to do online learning. Okay, I also want to just give our condolences to Washington, D.C., no, Washington, North Carolina. I was going to say Washington, D.C., sorry. Washington, North Carolina. Mayor is remembered as a legend and a leader after he passed away with COVID-19. He was actually tested on July 15th and tested positive and then passed away. So I just want to make sure that you all know he was 69 years old and would have turned 70 in September, and he passed away. So I just like to give condolences to different family members of people that do have loved ones that are passing away, and know the people around the country are praying for those individuals. And Dolly Parton said, hey, of course, Black Lives Matter is what she said. She said, of course, Black Lives Matter. She said, sometimes there's a thing called innocent ignorance. She removed the word Dixie off of her restaurant because she didn't even know. She said, I'm sorry. I just didn't know. I didn't know it was associated with anything to do with slavery or anything like that. So in her opinion, there's this thing called innocent ignorance. And so, I appreciate Dolly Parton's comments that came out. And we are going to have to go ahead and end, but we got a lot of discussion in. Hopefully, you all can continue to share your comments via email, kim@thebalancedoctor.tv. If you want to have a specific topic discussed on Freestyle Friday, let me type that, balancedoctor.tv. If you want to share any show ideas, shows you are interested in having become a part of the Kim Jacobs Show, any show guest. I've had you all recommend some of the most phenomenal guests right here to the show. So continue to flood my email, my inboxes, private messengers, whatever, to share these tremendous guests here on the Kim Jacobs Show. Monday, tune in. I have a very special woman that's going to be on, and she's going to be talking about some school related things that are important for you to know. So make sure you tune in Monday at 11 o'clock a.m. God bless you all, and thank you for being a part of let's see, Allison, have a great weekend. Okay, for being a part of the Kim Jacobs Show Freestyle Friday today. I love all of you guys, and I'll see you on Monday, 11